How's it going, everyone? It's Ben Falcons Media Corner back again with a brand new video for today. Welcome back to the movie review, aka after I saw review video for today. This time for this new episode for the series is going to be my review on the 2022 computer animated adventure film, and this is the sequel to the spin-off film that was released back in 2011 by DreamWorks Animation, and this was also the second film to be released by DreamWorks Animation back in 2022 as well. And as you guys can tell from the title of this video, of course I'm here to review Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, this is directed by Joel Crawford, the man behind The Croods and New Age, and like I said, this is the sequel to the spin-off film Puss in Boots, which was released back in 2011 by DreamWorks Animation. And the story of this film is that Puss in Boots is back, once again voiced by Antonio Banderas, who is now living his life, although he has pretty much wasted 8 of his 9 lives, as you probably would have seen from the trailer, and he's now down to 1 last life, and from there, he tends to retire as Puss in Boots, as he's now afraid of losing that last life, and from there, we see him trying to live a normal life as a house pet, even though he doesn't settle in that well until he finds out about this mythical legend which does exist, known as the Last Wish, which is basically a wishing star that can grant your wish. And so he decides to go on this adventure to basically find the Last Wish, and from there he teams up with Kitty Softpaws, once again voiced by Salma Hayek, and this new side character who he becomes friends with, his name is Peritio, who is a puppy dog voiced by Harvey Guillén. And so we see all these characters go on this adventure to find the Last Wish until they find out they're getting chased by a bunch of new bad guys, which consists Goldilocks and the Three Bears crime family, who are voiced by Florence, Pugh, Ray Winstone, Olivia Coleman, and Samson Kayo, and this nursery rhyme character named Big Jack Horner, voiced by Mulaney, who are also after the Last Wish as well. And so we see Puss in Boots and his friends, they have to try and get the Last Wish before these bad guys get their hands on it. And we also see that Puss in Boots is trying to avoid this mysterious hooded wolf, who's voiced by Wagner, Moura, who plots to kill him. So that's pretty much the story of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, I really enjoyed the first movie, Puss in Boots, which was released back in 2011. I thought that was a really good spin-off to the Shrek franchise, and when it comes to the Shrek franchise itself, I tend to enjoy the first 2 Shrek movies a lot. Like, the first movie, it's definitely one of the best animated movies of all time. It still is one of my all-time favorites ever to this day, and it's definitely one of my favorite DreamWorks movies ever, along with the first How to Train Your Dragon movie. But Shrek 2, I used to watch that one a lot as a kid, like crazy, and in my opinion, I think that one is even better than the first one, and it's my favorite of the franchise. But for the last 2 films, which are of course Shrek the Third and Shrek Forever After, those ones certainly aren't as good as the first 2 Shrek films. Like the third one, it's my least favorite of the franchise. But I certainly don't hate that film, because there are some stuff I do like in that film, but there definitely are issues with that film. But Shrek Forever After, I remember seeing that one in cinemas when it came out, and I thought that one was better than Shrek the Third, but certainly not as good as the first 2 Shrek films overall. But once after I saw the first Puss in Boots movie, I heard there was going to be a sequel. Like, I kind of heard some on and off things about it, and I didn't hear much anything about it until last year that we were officially going to get a sequel. And once I saw the trailers for this movie, I was really excited for this movie, but I was also a little bit curious as well, because in terms of like DreamWorks sequels, like we've had a few really damn good ones over the last few years, namely Shrek 2, the How to Train Your Dragon sequels, the Madagascar sequels, and the Kung Fu Panda sequels. Which those ones are good films, but for the most recent ones that we've been getting lately, like we've had Trolls World Tour and The Croods New Age, I thought both of them were just decent sequels. And for the last 2 ones that we did get, which were Spirit Untamed and The Boss Baby 2, I thought both of them were just okay sequels. So I was hoping this film wasn't going to be like any of those films. But this film was released back in December of last year in the US around Christmas time, but we didn't get this film until February this year. And I didn't see this film on opening day, because there was a lot of things that came out the exact same day as this was, in which the first film I saw the day this came out was The Whale, and I decided to see this film the next day, in which I did. So I went to see this on the 4th of February of this year. And I actually saw this at a job for free. I saw this after I finished my shift, and I was very lucky to get myself a free ticket for this film, because once I went back to my job to do my shift, I've had a lot of people seeing this film. Like, there was a lot of kids and adults seeing this film, and every single screen this film was playing in at my job, it was completely full. And like I said, I was very lucky to get myself a free ticket for this film, which I still have right here. And I'd like to say to View Cinema, thank you so much for getting me my free ticket for this film, because I was really excited for this movie. And after watching this whole movie, I gotta say here, guys, this sequel really surprised me here. I generally had a lot of fun with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This is definitely another one of my favorite DreamWorks sequels ever since Shrek 2. And I gotta say as well, this is definitely my favorite of the Shrek franchise by far here. And I can never say this is even better than the first Puss in Boots movie here, you guys. I generally just love this movie. The animation in this movie was absolutely spectacular from the start, because as I was watching the film, it made me feel like I was watching a painting from a frame being transformed into something else. And also, as I was watching the film, it immediately reminded me of other animated films that have done this style before, namely Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and The Bad Guys, which that was DreamWorks' previous film. And I really like both of those films, and I really love the animation style for both of those films as well. And I liked how this movie showcases some different types of moments from its animation style, like the action scenes, which the action scenes in this film were very exciting, yeah, very fun to watch. And I also liked how it showcases different types of tones in this film. Like there are some dark moments in the film which I thought were very well animated and yet very thrilling to watch. And when it comes to its light-hearted moments, I thought they were very well animated too, for being really, really colorful and yet very heartwarming as well. And when it comes to the characters in the film, I thought their material was very well unique and very well developed too, especially for the character of Puss in Boots, because he's changed a lot in this film, because in the first film he was known for being a fearless hero, but in this film he's different from that, because we see that he is afraid in the film, because he's scared of losing that last life after he wasted 8 of his 9 lives. And I liked how this movie showcases that message about being afraid and all that, which I really found that relatable and all that. And I also like how this movie shows a lesson about being careful and all that, which is one I also found really relatable too. I just immediately found both of those things very, very relatable throughout the entire film. And when it comes to the new characters in the film, like you've got Peritio, who's this puppy dog. He was a really cute, yeah, really funny character, and I really loved this character so much throughout the entire film. And there was never a single scene in the film that he managed to ruin or anything like that, for make a scene really cringe-worthy or anything like that, because he just managed to steal every single scene in this film for being a very adorable, yeah, very funny puppy throughout the entire film. And when it comes to the villains in the film, like you've got Goldilocks and the Three Bears crime family, I thought their material was very unique for having a different twist, a different take on them, because, in the original fairy tale book, because, at the end of that story where Goldilocks runs away from the Three Bears after she gets found out from them. But in this film, she becomes like a new member of the family, and I found that very unique and all that, being very different from its original story and all that. And there's another villain, which you've got Big Jack Horner, which I thought that was also a very unique take, a very different take on this character, because in the nursery rhyme he was known for being a little boy and all that, but no, he's really big in the film, and I really like that too. And when it comes to the comedy in the film, I thought the comedy in this film was very entertaining and, yeah, very, very funny throughout. There's a lot of good mixture of jokes in the film. Like there's some jokes set towards young children, which I thought were pretty entertaining to watch. And there were jokes set towards adults, which were very, very funny to watch. And some were very surprising. Like there's a few times where some of the characters swear and all that. But obviously they have to censor out the swear word, which I found that very funny and, yeah, very surprising. It was like that with DC League of Super Pets, because in that film they did that joke, and first time I saw it I didn't expect that, but when it happened again I couldn't stop laughing my ass off, and I did the exact same thing here with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and all that. However, when it comes to the comedy, there's one gag in the film that I kind of found a bit repetitive, and that's only my nitpick I have with the film. It's between Goldilocks and the Three Bears, because they often do the same gag in the film where wherever they find themselves in, they either say like, oh, it's too hot, oh, it's too cold, oh, this is just right. They often do that. They often do that in this film, and that's my only flaw I have with this film, because I just kind of found that gag a bit repetitive and all that. But still, though, the comedy is still pretty funny in this film. And this film often has callbacks to the Shrek franchise, which I didn't really expect that. But after seeing them in this film, I thought they were very surprising, and yet I found nearly every single one of them so emotional, because even towards the end of the film I nearly felt like crying my eyes, especially the ending, which I won't say what happens at the ending because I obviously don't want to get into spoilers. But for the ending, what an ending. I didn't really expect that, but I was just very surprised, and I nearly felt tears in my eyeballs coming down my face. Also, the storytelling for this film I thought was pretty thrilling, although it is almost similar to the first film through its journey, for like what goes on through that journey and all that. But I still did find myself pretty satisfied enough through this whole new adventure throughout the entire film. But overall, in the end, guys, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I can definitely tell you guys that I indeed had a lot of fun with this movie from beginning to end. This movie was just generally awesome and very exciting, and I can definitely say as well, this is definitely even better than the first Puss in Boots movie. And I can also say as well, this is indeed my favorite DreamWorks film of this decade by far, my new favorite of the Shrek franchise, and definitely my favorite film of last year, as well as in general, one of my favorite animated films of 2022 as well. And there are a few ways I could recommend this film. If you're a fan of the first Puss in Boots movie, or you're a fan of the Shrek franchise, this is one you don't want to miss out for yourselves here. And if it is still playing in a local cinema near you, for those in the UK, I highly suggest go out and see this film on the big screen for yourselves with either your friends or family. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I'm going to give Puss in Boots: The Last Wish 4.5 out of 5. Yep, absolutely deserves this rating because, like I said, I generally had a lot of fun with this movie from beginning to end. This movie was just indeed awesome, and like I said, this is even better than the first one. And I can definitely say this is definitely my favorite of the Shrek franchise by far here, and definitely my favorite new DreamWorks film of this decade by far. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching for my AK After I Saw review on Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and let me know what you think of this sequel if you have seen this already, or if you just recently checked out the sequel. Did you have a blast with this, or is this not really a popcorn treat? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been Fogan's Media Corner signing off.